We have all had a change in our work environment very recently. Somehow, our spouses are around us, our kids are around us, our pets, our parents. Too much going on. So, how do we increase productivity while working from home, especially during these COVID times? Here are 10 productivity hacks that you could apply right away.
When love comes in, ooh, la, la, la.
Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Alice and you're watching on LeLifestyle. Happy World Productivity Day. Isn't it funny how this year, this specific date falls where almost all of us are working from home and trying to adapt to our new environment, and especially now that everyone's almost always home. So on this note, let's jump in and let me share with you a few hacks that I personally use in a work from home environment. Some of these hacks are unconventional, so I'll explain why I think they're a must. So number one, it's to make your bed and get out of your PJs. Okay, so why do I say make your bed? Because that's the first thing that's gonna set the tone of your day. So once you make your bed, it's all nice, your room's clean, that just sets the tone for your day. That means that you got off on the right foot. And once you change out of your PJs, well, your bed's done. Why are you gonna stay in PJs? That doesn't make sense. So you're gonna change out of your PJs, you're gonna hop into some clothes that you're either comfy in working or that makes you feel more powerful. You're gonna change into clothes that uplift you or make you feel comfortable in a working environment. The second thing, and I hope you've already done this, is to designate a working area. So not your room, not your bed. It could be the dining room, kitchen table, whatever, but it's a specific area and that's where you're gonna be working. This actually also sets the tone for everyone else in the house. So if you're with your spouse, your parents, your kids, they know if you're sitting at the kitchen table or the dining table, you're working. They won't want to bother you because they know that you're working. That's your workspace. That also allows your mind to block out everything else, because as soon as you sit down, it's as if you were at the office, it's as if you were sitting at your office table, but this is your dining table and that has now turned into your office table. So it also sends information to your mind saying, okay, this is where we work. Number three is actually to have a planner. Yes, I know it's quarantine, who needs a planner nowadays, but trust me, you need a planner. Either it's electronic or paper. I personally use both. So I have a paper, pretty thick calendar planner, and I also use Google Calendar. So how I personally work, and maybe it could work for you, is all the things that I have to do every day. So my routine, very important for you to have a specific routine for your day-to-day. So when you wake up, when you have breakfast, when your set lunch is, and dinner, etc. So those set things, I put them into my Google Calendar, and the things that I'm going to work on, I put them in my paper planner. For my Google Calendar, what I do is I have my wake up, and then I have my morning exercise, I have my gratitude journaling, my visualization, all those stuff that takes about an hour and a half, let's say. So that's set in stone, that doesn't move. If I have to put anything else, I would have to look at all the blank blocks, blank spaces I have in my calendar, and then I'll plug them in there. So I know for sure my mornings, it doesn't budge. Yeah, and everything else, I just put them in my paper planner, which I also like to decorate. So if I have my routine in there too, it kind of like gets mixed up. So yeah. So whatever it is, a paper planner or an electronic calendar like the Google Calendar, whatever works for you, is very important for you to keep track of all the things you're doing, all your tasks, all your goals, etc. Because that's gonna really set a schedule for your day. That way you're less distracted. Which leads me to number four. Number four is goals, not hours. So you want to track goals and not hours. I hope when you're working in general, you have specific goals that you want to meet. And when you're starting to work, it's not about the amount of hours you put in working, because when you're just counting hours and not necessarily reaching goals during your day, that means that you might be thinking that you're working, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the work that you're actually doing is productive. So when you put goals, then you know that, I don't know, this many hours that you worked, you know that you worked towards this goal, so it was really productive. Number 5 is actually to not check your emails that often. I would say maybe twice a day. So you want to check your emails after you've done your exercise, your visualization, your gratitude journaling, all that, reading, etc. You want to do it as soon as your work day starts, let's say, so around 8 to 9 a.m. You check your emails, and then personally, I'll check my emails again in the afternoon, but in between that, I've set my schedule in a way where I don't really have time to check my emails. I'm just working on my goals. Number 6 is to cut off coffee. I'm not saying completely, don't worry. I mean, just cut it down a bit. So in general, we're told that 2 to 3 cups of coffee in a day is great, but when we're at home, we have liberty of making our own coffee whenever we want. We could just get up and go and make ourselves a cup of coffee. We might be in so much stress that we're like, okay, I need a break, let me just get a coffee, but you technically had one maybe half hour ago. So without noticing it, the amount of coffee you intake is increasing during your day. That's not really good for you because coffee stays in your body longer. One, you probably won't be able to sleep later on. And 2, it causes some kind of anxiety and stress within you. So you're even more anxious, even more stressed on the tasks that you have to do, that you just can't really focus. So that's why I personally have a cup of coffee in the morning and then one right after lunch. So I don't have any coffee after 2-3 p.m. because I know if I have any more, then I'll just be all over the place jumping around and won't be able to focus. And 2, later on, like, it will take me a lot longer to fall asleep. If you have a hard time sticking to a goal or sticking to your work for a certain period of time, there are 2 different methods that you could use. One of them being a Pomodoro or the 90-91 rule. For number 7 is to use either one of these methods. The Pomodoro is when you put a set clock, let's say about 60 minutes. That's when you work on the most important thing of your day for that many minutes. And then you take a 30-minute or 15-minute break. And the 90-91 rule is very similar, is for 90 days, 90 minutes, you work on one thing. And most of the time, it has to be the first thing that you do in your work schedule. Why is it important for you to follow either one of these methods? Is because you'll be super focused on finishing that one task during that time frame because you know there's a break coming. So you want to finish it as soon as possible, and then you get to take a little break. So another thing I want to mention about these methods is that they create urgency in your brain. So you know that you need to finish this one goal. When you set 60 minutes or an hour and a half of your day just to focus on that goal, that creates urgency because you only have that hour or hour and a half to do it and finish it. So your brain's in a very urgent state and it's like, okay, we have to do this, no distractions, super focused. And that's exactly what happens. You're super focused on that one task, so you actually get it done faster. And another thing, you really want to make sure that one thing that you're working on during this time frame is one of the hardest things that you have to do. So once you get it out of the way, then the rest of the day is going to be almost like a breeze. So number 8 is to take a break. I mean, we all expected this, right? So why should we take a break? And not just any break, not just like let me watch a quick episode of Modern Family on Netflix. No, I mean, go outside, take a quick walk around the neighborhood, and then come back and continue. You need that break outdoors, breathing fresh air, not staying inside longer, okay? You need to change your environment, change your state for a little bit, so that way when you come back and sit down, you're refreshed. Number 9 is to reduce distractions. Before you say it, I know it's easy to say and hard to do, but I'm talking about social media and the such. I'm not talking about your kids, your spouse, your parents, or your pets. I know they could come and go and be a distraction, but I'll get to them in a quick second. When I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about putting a set time. So let's say you're on your lunch break or you're taking a quick break outdoors, taking in the fresh air, and you're like, let me check my Instagram. Put in a timer of 5 minutes or however long you want. Just make sure that it's not longer than 30 minutes, because then what's the point? Just put a timer, and then you could go on your social media, and that will actually help you spend less time and not be stuck scrolling for hours. Regarding the people living with you, I can't speak for kids yet because I don't have any of my own, but let's say for your spouse or your parents, you need to explain to them that your work area is where you need to focus the most. So if they're going to approach you, it's because there's something very important or urgent that they need to tell you. What I'm trying to say is communication is key. So there are many ways to find a middle ground where everyone's different schedules come together and everyone respects the other person's time. I know it's hard. But trust me, once everything's settled and you could actually see what their routine and schedule looks like, then it's easier for you to adapt and the person to adapt to yours as well. Finally, number 10 is to celebrate your wins. What's the point of being super productive, super focused on something for a very long time if you're not going to celebrate every single time that you do something amazing? At the end of the day, if you're not writing into a gratitude journal, such as the one I've shared in previous videos, take the time to really think about all the amazing moments during the day. So when you're winding down in front of TV with a glass of wine, think about it and really celebrate those wins. As small as they are, they're still wins. They're very important for your day. It'll actually make you happier that you know that you're doing something great during your day. So guys, these were my 10 hacks that I personally use every single day, and I hope this brought value to you. If it did, please share it with your friends and leave a comment below. We post videos every week, so don't forget to subscribe. Bye.